Hey guys, welcome to Ocean Chicks Films. I'm your host Karen, and tonight we've got a brand new episode of 2-for-1 movie reviews with viewer requests. So I'm going to be reviewing Hellraiser 4, Bloodline from 1996, and Hellraiser 5, Inferno from 2000. So let's start out first with Hellraiser Bloodline from 1996. This one was a viewer request from viewer Daniel Campbell, so big shout out to him. I'm really looking forward to reviewing this one actually, because I've been meaning to for a long time. It's the one with the most controversy attached to it. And just so you know, there's going to be spoilers in this video. I think it's going to be hard to talk about it without spoilers this time. So if that's not cool, just click off now and we'll catch you on the next one. Or go watch it, watch the movies, and then come back and watch the video and we can talk about it. Okay, let's have a look. Hellraiser Bloodline from 1996. 3 generations of the same family deal with the consequences of unleashing the forces of hell. In 18th century France, a toy maker is coerced into creating a box that serves as a portal between hell and earth. This box summons demonic Angelique and Pinhead. 200 years later, they hunt down the toy maker's descendant for a final confrontation. Directed by Kevin Yeager and Joe Chappelle, starring Valentina Vargas, Adam Scott, Bruce Ramsey, and Doug Bradley. So this film was supposed to be the final one in the series, so they packed a lot into it. At least they tried to, and that led to a little bit of problems. Quite a bit of problems, actually. And Clive Barker had a big hand in this one as well. That being said, I think that there was perhaps too many cooks in the kitchen for this one, and that led to a lot of weird stuff and, yeah, a lot of controversy. But you know what? I think that's why I like it so much. Because there's so much going on, you know my thing, I love rewatching stuff, and because of that, there's so much to see, so much that you would miss on the first viewing, that it's worth watching again. I don't recommend that you binge watch 1, 2, and 3, and then 4 all in the same day, because it's a bit overwhelming and too much. I did that with 5 when I watched it the first time, and I didn't care for it as much. But the second rewatch today, I enjoyed it a lot more. So I think the same thing with this one. There's a lot there. You want to get your rest, eat your Wheaties, and watch the movie one time around and, you know, think on it for a while and then maybe watch it a second time. So this movie's combining the past, present, and future. It's a lot. It's like 3 movies in one, to be honest. I kind of think they maybe should have broke it down into 3 films instead of just 1, but they put it all together. And it's giving you a big history of the puzzle box. And yes, in fact, they do go into space. It is that kind of a movie. Very crazy, but it kind of works, in my opinion. So the film starts out in the past. 18th century France, to be specific, and it's with this toy maker named Philippe Le Marchand. He's creating his greatest work, the Lament configuration. He's putting his heart and soul into it, and he's doing it for this man, this eccentric man that's into devil worshipping and stuff like that. He's doing it for him, and he doesn't really know the full ramifications of what he's doing, but he's very talented, and he's creating this amazing creation. So the eccentric old man and his henchmen, they lure this beautiful woman that's innocent into their mansion to do this ritual on her to summon up the demon Angelique and give her this sacrifice. And they take her skin off so that Angelique can wear her skin so she can survive on the earth and never age, much like Frank did in the first movie. So Angelique is very seductive. It's all about sex and control and luring men to do her bidding. And they, of course, the young guy and her hook up, and the old guy, they kill him off. And the young guy thinks he's gaining all of this power and notoriety and wealth and all of his dreams coming true, but there's a bigger plan going on there, because Angelique, all she wants to do is permanently open this gateway to hell so that the Cenobites and Pinhead and all of them can freely wander the earth and have control over everything. This film has a decent amount of gore, in my opinion. It's pretty good, lots of kills. There's lots of room for it because there's so much going on in this film. And there's a lot of sexual stuff too, which I heard was a complaint for the latest reboot, that there wasn't enough of that in this movie. And I guess that's really what it's all about, right? The sexual desire of these Cenobites controlling everything and having power that way. But this definitely has a lot of gore. Some of the effects are a little bit goofy, like a little bit hokey, but it's decent. I mean, there were parts that I cringed, you know, pretty decent. And Doug Bradley is in fact in this one. He agreed to do that. He was only going to be sort of at the end a bit, but the studio changed that and forced him to be in there more because they figured people are going to want to see Pinhead. So that was part of the start of like all of these too many cooks in the kitchen, so many changes and so much restructuring of things and cutting things and adding things and that it got a little kind of convoluted, I think. And the toy maker dies, but he has a son. And so the legacy of this puzzle box kind of carries on, but it's hidden. And of course the demons are, you know, not around. It can't be a part of it or use it. But Angelique still exists, and her and that guy are both, they stay young looking because, right, the demon stuff. And so the generations down of this family still have the knowledge or the ability to recreate this box again. So anyways, he has this building, this business that the lament configuration is actually designed off of, and so it's part of the whole building. And Angelique figures it out, you know, hooks up with this guy, flirts with him and manipulates and tries to get him to forcibly rebuild this puzzle box so that she can open up this gateway to hell and rule the earth. And Angelique eventually reconnects with Pinhead, and that's quite the moment. And she's wondering why he looks so hideous and disgusting, and he explains to her that things are different in hell since she was last there. So anyways, she eventually gets transformed into this really cool Cenobite looking creature herself too. And the kills are pretty good, and the Cenobites are cool too. There's even this one like Resident Evil looking kind of dog with chattering teeth, like the Chatterer, chasing someone down a hallway, which is pretty cool. There are these two twin cops that get transformed and morphed together. That's pretty horrific and pretty cool too, in my opinion. I liked that part. So then in the third act, we go into space, because just before that, the building gets blown up and the gateway gets shut, and Angelique's all chained up and pulled back, and all hell breaks loose, but in a bad way for them, if that makes sense. And so we end up in space in the year 2127, and same kind of deal. The family's carried on there. It's a space center. You know, there's all kinds of weird stuff starts to happen, and you know, we get the Cenobites and Pinhead, you know, coming in trying to open that door again. So I think we have so many things going on because Clive Barker, they were trying desperately to pack as much as they possibly could into this final episode. You know, they had no idea that there were going to be more movies being made afterwards. They were just trying to pack so much in. And with all of that being said, with the restrictions from the studios and the money and the different directors and different people that were coming in and out of all of it, it got to be this crazy ass mess, you know, and it was just too hard to hold together and make it coherent. So there was a lot of criticism for that. They also had a massively cut budget, so they had to cut corners, you know, and there were less characters than they wanted. They couldn't expand on a lot of the stuff that they wanted. They wanted to expand more on that whole relationship between Angelique and Pinhead. Angelique being this very sexually driven person working that way, and Pinhead being this very cold, matter-of-fact kind of person. They couldn't expand on those things because the budget was cut. So you didn't get the same kind of story that you would have originally. Another thing they did was, I guess by that point Doug Bradley was kind of fed up with all the makeup and everything, because it took apparently a lot of effort and time, and it was really uncomfortable, all of his makeup that he had to wear for the other films. So they cut back on that extensively so that he would be more comfortable, maybe quicker to get him in and out of costume than before, and maybe because of the budget too. So that probably affected things a bit as well. A few of the negatives I have with the film, I do think it was too much for one movie. I think it should have been broken down into 3 separate films, or even maybe 2. That would have been better. And I wish they would have been able to implement all of the stuff that they wanted to from the very beginning, and had the better effects and the better character development, and all of it would have been really cool to see that version of it too. That being said, it was the last of the films that was released in theaters, which is very cool. And but in the UK, it was went straight to video. But I think that was kind of typical back then, right? That kind of thing, I think. Probably because of the violence and the gore and that kind of stuff. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I overall, I really enjoyed this film quite a bit. I enjoyed it watching it second, third time. There's a lot going on there, and I love dissecting things and finding things in movies, and it's definitely got a lot of that going on. And like I say, I'm just a huge fan of the franchise. I love all the movies for different reasons. I love the Cenobites in this movie, and there was enough gore there for me to be entertained. I think it was fun. And to be fair, it made more than double the budget in its release. So, I mean, that's not a bad thing, right? So I recommend that you watch it. And I thank Daniel for recommending this video for me to watch because it was a cool one to review. And for my review, I'm going to give it 4 shark bites out of 5. I know, shocking, right? But I liked it. I like these movies a lot. I think they're a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of Pinhead and the Chatterer. So give it a watch. Okay, so now don't go anywhere because we're going to get into the second film, which is Hellraiser 5, Inferno. And this one I'm excited about because it's directed by one of my favorite directors, Scott Derrickson. And this one was also a viewer request from our good old friend, Kevin Dobson. He asked that I review this one, and so I'm doing that.